Let's get it. What's up, everybody? What is going on? I'm your host, Kojo Software, checking in from Los Angeles, California. This is the late night show, Dr. Kojo. This is the number one mental health show on the planet, and we have a great topic tonight. I do want to say that I'm sorry for being late. We're like a good 2 hours late. We should have gone live at 6 o'clock, but I've been like an hour and a half late all day. But that's neither here nor there. So I appreciate your attention. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this show all week. I have a really good show. I've been looking forward to this topic all day. I just had to do everything I needed to do to get here. So, like I said, my name is Kojo, checking in from sunny Los Angeles, California, or what was a sunny day here in LA. So go ahead and use the comment section to let me know what your name is if it's not there, and let me know where you're checking in from. Let's get going. Let's get it. It's my little blurb. Y'all know how it is. We have Jacqueline checking in from Missouri. Jacqueline, what's up? What's up? Leilani, one of the moderators, checking in from Tennessee. What's up? What's up? We have Kayla Johnson. I'm not sure if I've seen Kayla before, but Kayla, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the family, checking in from Michigan. So I'm excited to see everybody who is here. We got Sandra. What's up? What's up? 92 what? Let me see. Guam in the house. Jenny, what's going on? How are you doing? Heather from Michigan. Kayla, I'm happy to have you on the live stream. You guys checking in from YouTube. That's really exciting. I want to get people from YouTube, folks from TikTok, we can't stream. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter. I want to get folks from everywhere. We got Oregon in the house, Virginia in the house, North Dakota. Amber, what's up from Jersey? Wisconsin in the house. North Augusta, my CSRA family. Erica from Reno, South Carolina. From Texas. Sunny and warm here in Tennessee too. Yeah, we don't need a second winter. It's been winter for too long in LA. I don't know what's going on. Love from the Philippines. Charlotte, what's going on? Donovan from Ohio. What's good, my guy? Oklahoma City in the house. Northeastern Washington. Okay. Texas in the house. Cali, what's up? I think, is it Texas? I'm trying to remember. Philippines, Ontario, Illinois, Ohio, Texas, Chicago, Virginia. I don't know why you look like you're from Texas. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Texas is cool. Arizona, St. Louis, Canada. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Got gaslighted. Man, we got to educate that person who's trying to gaslight you. Florida, Ohio, Vegas. It's snow today. Okay. In Missouri, Ohio, Seattle, Savannah, Pennsylvania, Alberta. So we got Western Canada in the house. Okay, awesome. So we have a great show lined up for you all tonight. We're going to be talking about what your mental health condition says about you. So if you're new to this stream, this is not medical advice, right? We're talking as friends. It's just Kojo talking to Jasmine, right? We're just friends having fun here. Kojo talking to Jody. We're just talking. Kojo talking to Donovan. Just a conversation, not medical advice. We're just chopping it up, right? This is just one big body doubling session, right? So if you have to get some clothes folded, this is a good time to do it. If you have to get some dishes done, you can get the dishes done. If you have to do something, right, that takes a little bit of time, the live stream is the perfect time to do it, and you can stay engaged, right? Been playing chilly in Tennessee, Atlanta in the house, Texas, New York City. Oh, Indiana and Ohio. I work in Indiana and live in Ohio. Oh, okay. It's kind of like people who, let's say you live in Augusta but work in South Carolina, something like that. Mitch, I appreciate you, my guy. And yes, so we can all take a page out of Brett's book. So Brett is cleaning the garage as he's listening to this. So if I were listening to this, I'd probably be doing that. I'd probably be, I got only a few clothes on the bed, but I'd be laying the bed, and I'd be making the bed and laying it, right? Same thing. And I'd be folding those clothes, and maybe I'd be doing the dishes, right? Something like that. All right. Decluttering still. Hey, it takes a while. And Bamer says, diagnosed schizoaffective. I stopped taking meds, got my life together, have kids, but now have a lot of autism symptoms that hinder my personal relationships. I'm married for 15 years. Bamer, I'm rooting for you. And, whatever you have to do for your mental health, if it's working, and I'll support you. I hope you're, talking to your doctor, getting the help that you need. And it's funny because I'm going to have to make this a series. What your mental health condition says about you. I did not include autism in this, right? And I did not include schizoaffective. I did include bipolar disorder. So I'm gonna put a note to myself, autism and schizoaffective next. I, I wish I would have had those in. I wish I would have had those in, but I did. I got five. I got five for y'all tonight. I got five for y'all tonight. So I'm gonna start off with the first one. But let me read a couple of comments. So yeah, we're gonna body double while we do the live stream. Jennifer says, I'm cleaning the kitchen and laundry. I like that. I was telling my ADHD coach about you earlier and telling her to check out your videos. Oh, Callie, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Folding clothes. You should be doing a podcast. John, yeah, yeah. I had a podcast, but I think I made it too complicated. Like I was too, like it's on me. I was too focused about the aesthetics and the camera. But literally, I can just sit down and talk, and I appreciate you all's attention. So, John, you are completely right. You're right. I'm traveling on the bus to listen to this, so I don't picture on the bus. Oh, that's dope. Moving to a new place alone for the first time in 3 years. Hey, well, Rusty, you got all of us here. So 74 of us on this live stream. Everybody, say give a big what's up to Rusty. So you can make some friends. Let's get this community up and growing. Nightly supplements. Hopefully it's not that melatonin. You might fall asleep on the live stream. All right, okay. So we have the first one here. Let me read this. I'm a mom with ADHD and PTSD. Your videos made me feel validated. Thank you. I'm going to school to be a counselor. Savannah, you get the first love of the show. I appreciate you, Savannah. Thank you so much. I finished cleaning my daughter's room and out of the bathroom. Another love of the show. Yes, ma'am. I have PTSD, autism, ADHD, and clinical depression. Well, let me see. We'll be talking about trauma here and ADHD and depression. So, boom, Donovan, this might be helpful for you, right? So the first one that we're going to talk about is depression, right? And I'm going to explain this, right? So depression, you may be someone who cares for people a lot. And it's something that I've learned, through my personal experience with taking care of people who have depression, and also through my depressed moments, right? I don't know if I can say that I have clinical depression, but I bit my tongue. Ugh. Oh boy, I get clumsy when I talk. But by having ADHD, I definitely I can understand what depression feels like just by having ADHD, right? You get paralyzed sometimes, not physically, but you get to this rut where you can't get anything done, right? And you feel unproductive. And it's a depressive type of thing, right? But having ADHD doesn't mean that you have depression, but it does mean that there's like a 3 to 5 time more. It's three. I've actually seen studies that say that it's if you have ADHD, you're 5 times more likely to have depression, right? So I can definitely relate to this, right? So a lot of people who are, either depressed or they have clinical depression, they care for people a lot because when you've been at a really low, right? Let's say you've been at a low, right? It's just a low where you can't get anything done. You're not productive at work. You may even lose your job. Your thoughts are off. Your memory's bad. You lost interest in things they used to enjoy doing, and you just feel like sometimes people feel like life is not worth living, right? And if it gets to that point, I always recommend that let's look around and find things that give us joy, so that way it's okay to get there, but you don't want to stay there, right? But when you're at a low and you come back up, you see the world differently, right? So you have sometimes I tend to think that you have more empathy, right? Because if you've been down there in the dumps and you know how awful it is, when you get back up and you see somebody in that same situation, you often feel compelled to help them, right? Because you're like, oh, dang, I remember what it feels like to be there. And people who have been through this, it's, you don't have to ask anybody for anything when you're trying to figure out how to help somebody out, right? You might go ahead and take the initiative. If you have a friend who's depressed, you may go ahead and you may just go to their house and you might go ahead and start cleaning, the dishes for them, helping them with their chores, because you knew that when you were depressed, you were like, man, if I just had a friend come to the house and help me get my dog out, it would have made my day, right? So because you're able to see things from different perspectives, I feel like people who deal with depression or deal with some form of a low mood, right? You can have like dysthymia where like your mood's kind of low, not like full out like depression, but it's just like you're like here, like You're not quite down low, but you're like, you're kind of like right here. And if you know what that feels like, then I feel like you are able to, really care for other people in a way that people who have not experienced that could. So that's a good way to look at it, right? That's a way to reframe things, right? And I don't wish a depressive episode on anybody, right? But it happens. So when it happens, how do we make it be something that we can learn from, right? Let me get some comments. Hi, Jerry. I don't know. I don't know. I was talking, and there's no blood, so I don't know. But I just felt like I bit my tongue. I don't know what's going on. Rusty says, "Thank you. It's different not having the kid and dogs running around, just being an empty apartment." Hey, Rusty. Well, hey, we got your back over here. We got your back over here. We learn a lot from your videos. Emily, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Hey, MP's in the house with ADHD. We're the best. Not melatonin. Okay, all right, cool. Because melatonin was about to make you sleep, you know. And yes, this is the Discord community right here. This is the link. The Discord is really cool because sometimes when the system breaks or we're not able to, the notifications don't work, we still have the Discord. Trisha, I appreciate you. ADHD plus clinical depression. I'm struggling with nomads right now. Enjoy your live feeds. Well, Trish, I can tell you one thing about ADHD and or depression, right? When you're doing things that you enjoy, it can make you feel better. So if you enjoy this live stream, I enjoy having you here, right? So I enjoy having you here. You enjoy being here. So that should be beneficial for both of us. I know it's beneficial for me. And let me see. Let me see. Jennifer says, Rusty, your apartment may be empty, but this room is full of love for you. We got you. Yeah, yeah. I like that. And that's the power of the internet, When I was I'm not gonna get too sidetracked, right? I like to go off into tangents, but when I was on ABC7 for my most recent TV segment, we're talking about if TikTok and these social media platforms are good or bad, right? And I think it's a tool that can be used for whatever, it can be bad, right? And depending on if you have like little kids, maybe they shouldn't be on the internet. But if you know how to use this as a tool that can help you out, you can create an environment where you can build that connection. People who have connections with others tend to live longer, have a more fulfilled life, right? And that can be helpful for people who are struggling with depression and isolation and loneliness, right? So community is important. Like friends, like it's not. Uh, I wouldn't recommend being a lone wolf. Let's just say that. ADHD is our superpower. Hey Brian, I feel that way. Some people don't, but I feel that way, at least for me. Some days I don't. Some days I'm like, even today, I was like, I'm 2 hours late to the live stream. I was like, I don't like to, we don't use cuss words here, but, maybe add a couple of 4-letter words in the car, people driving slow, but, we got to the live stream and, we're good to go. We are good to go. And let me see. Oh, wow. Australia, Megan, I'm happy to have you on the live stream. It's already Friday over there, I would bet. And let me see. I struggle with depression and anxiety. Lately, they have been both through the roof. I definitely care about people so much and feel the pressure to not make anyone upset and be someone my loved ones can be proud of. Also, Jasmine, let me talk about this real quickly. So, look, I do my best to make my parents proud of me. And when you're trying to put on for your loved ones, sometimes you feel like it's never enough, right? So like I literally left New York after I was on the Today Show, and I was like, I hope my parents are proud of me. I hope they're proud of me, and of course they're proud of me. But sometimes we feel this need to like keep doing so much more, right? But if you never do anything amazing for the rest of your life, which is not true, you'll do amazing things. But even if you never did, another notable thing in your life, like people still care about you. So when you get that in your mind, it relieves the pressure of having to perform. Like we don't have to perform for people that we love, right? Love is not it's not supposed to be conditional. So when you have had your issues with depression, you may feel more, but we do have to do our best to. Sometimes you have to cap. What am I trying to say? We have to cap how much you feel, right? We don't want to take on other people's burdens, but we want to be empathetic, right? We all have our own struggles, so you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? But sometimes that can be like a it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky. And Leilani, which brand are you talking to me or somebody else? And I struggle with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and BPD. I struggle to live, and now I have physical stuff going on. So Zoraida, I don't, know what I could do to make you feel better, but I can tell you this. I can tell you that the fact that you're struggling and the fact that you're still moving in the right direction, it gives me hope that you're going to be okay, right? And a lot of times, somebody says something about how common are ADHD seen. I don't understand this question fully, but I can tell you that people like think something like ADHD. It normally comes a lot of times you'll see ADHD with other things like a depression or a PTSD or anxiety or BPD, right? So it's rare that I have a patient who just has ADHD, So like you have to know how to navigate and deal with multiple things at once. So there's so many people who have multiple mental health conditions all at once, and there is hope to live your best life, right? You might need some extra support here and there, some guidance, but there's definitely hope. And even with the physical stuff going on, I still believe in you, right? We got to take it one day at a time. We got to take it one day at a time. And let me answer Brian's question real quick, and then I'll get to Kimberly, and then I'll get to the second mental health condition I had. Um, Forgive me if you answered this already. What's the best way to help my 14-year-old son deal with ADHD? So, Brian, it depends. Obviously, you have the professional help, right? Where you can go to a doctor, and meds are helpful, and therapy is helpful. Sometimes nothing beats meds and therapy, but there's certain things that you can do to help him out, because the 14-year-old boy is going to become a man one day, right? And at some point, he's going to thank you. He'll be there. He'll be married with maybe his own son one day, and he'll think back to his dad and say, "I'm so happy my dad helped me out by doing X, Y, and Z." And the X, Y, and Z are, speaking to him in a positive way. If you speak to him in an uplifting manner, that's going to help him with self-esteem. That's going to help him regulate his mood, right? With ADHD, you might get a little bit irritable from time to time, right? So speaking to him in a positive way might be one of the best things that you could do, right? And of course, exercise is helpful. I exercise every day. That's one of the top. That might be the best thing I do for my ADHD. And I also watch what I eat. I cut out those processed foods. I'll see, the commercials, and you know, I- sometimes I do crave that number one Chick-fil-A with the large fries and the large lemonade and the cookies. But like I try to put the processed foods away because I feel so much better without it. But having a positive support system, having people that love you, people that speak highly of you, all that stuff helps. And also allowing him to get sleep too. 14 year 14 14, what is that, sophomore high school. It's hard for all of us to sleep nowadays, but you might catch them playing Fortnite with their friends and things like that, right? So getting a consistent sleep, schedule could be one of the most helpful things for anybody with ADHD, regardless of if you're 44 or 14. Let me get this question real quick. So Kimberly, I would say talk to your doctor about this, because different people react differently to stimulants, right? And sometimes, people will think that, like, of course, like with something like Adderall, I know it can make your blood pressure go up, right? And maybe headaches can come from that. I'm just hypothesizing because I'm not your doctor. I don't know what's going on. But I think it's always helpful whenever you have a side effect from any medication to let your doctor know. And then just say, hey, if anything, the best thing that you could do is like try and take note of when you first started feeling this way. Like, let's say they put you on a certain dosage and then you were fine. But when they increase the dosage, you started the headaches. Then you can tell your doctor, and your doctor will be like, so when we increased Kimberly's dosage, that's when she had headaches, right? So if you can just start to take note of what you're feeling and when you're feeling it, I think that can be very helpful. All right. And Cindy is from Asheville, North Carolina. Hey, what's up, Cynthia? How you doing? And yeah, Leilani, yeah, that's what I said. It's important to talk to if you have ADHD, you have to talk to yourself in a positive way. And also, if the people around you are supporting you with positive talk, is very helpful, because it's hard to regulate your mood with ADHD. And Savage Clark, I hope your brand's doing good. And Leilani, I knew what I saw your comments, so now I know what you're talking about. All right, now the second thing, anxiety. Let me drop this in here. All right, so anxiety, what your mental health condition says about you. We'll drop this in here. So anxiety. You may live in the future a lot, like mentally, but present, you do really well, right? So that's one of the worst things about anxiety, right? When you have anxiety, I've said this before online, it's really hard to be anxious and present at the same time. In fact, it's impossible, right? Like right now, like I know, uh, after this live stream, I gotta maybe clean up a little bit. After reply to some emails, after call and talk to my dad about something, I have to get his permission for something that I want to do for my little brother because I'm still a child. I gotta call my no, I'm my dad's child. I'm not a child, but I'm my dad's child, right? I gotta call him. So I got some things that I have to do and take care of. But right now, I'm not worried about any of that because I'm on the live stream, right? So I got the green dot right there, right? So I know it's right there. I know where to look. I know where the comments are. So right now, I'm not worried about the future because I'm present. So at this very moment, I am not anxious at all. After the live stream, maybe I'll go back to being anxious, but right now I'm not anxious at all, right? So if you have anxiety, when you live in the future, it can be really difficult to bring yourself back. But that's where mindfulness comes into play. That's where even things like sour candy or like sometimes people will hold ice cubes in their hands to kind of like feel that sensation, and then it brings you back to the moment where you're like, all right, my hands are cold. I got ice cubes in my hand. All right. And when you're worried about the ice cubes, you're not worried about what your boss wants you to do next week, Thursday. You're right here in this moment, right? So when you're present, you tend to do well, right? So the question is, how do I bring myself from 2024 to like right now? So whatever trick you can do is helpful, so it depends on the person. And sometimes I remember when I first moved to LA, like I used to have sometimes when I get anxious, and this happened after I had 3 electric bikes stolen from me. So obviously that was why I was anxious, But I have some days where I'm like, I don't feel right, and then I would get myself to get out the house and just go to the dog park and just watch the dogs run around, And of course, I still had issues and things to take care of. Like we're never gonna not have issues and struggles, but if I'm watching dogs run around and play and people are like, "Oh, this is my dog. I have a Pomeranian. I have an Aussie. I have a Dachshund. I have a Greyhound or whatever." I never saw no Greyhounds at the dog park. I made that part up. But if you're watching dogs play, you can't think about the future. You have no time to be anxious, right? So whatever trick that we have to do for ourselves is gonna vary, right? So I think it's helpful to figure out what is good for you. And right, so the 5 4 3 2 1 method is very helpful. Like if you can ground yourself, and I always get confused, but it's like 5 things that you can see or 4 things that you can hear, or if you're aware of your environment. Like I know I have 2 lamps right here. I got this thing right here with the pens, right? With the Williamsburg, Virginia. I used to work there at Eastern State Hospital, right? So I have this right here. I'm not sure why I have a toothbrush, but that's weird. I got a highlighter right here. I got my phone right here. I got the elephants in my phone. These elephants represent suicide prevention. I got my passport here because I have to go to Canada next week. I have this here because I want to play Nintendo Switch at some point. So if I'm worried about everything here, right, I can't be worried about next week, right? And Savage, you're right. It takes a lot of practice to be present. Like if it was as easy as just snapping your finger, then I just snap my finger. But it takes practice to be present. All right, and Emily, yeah, being anxious sucks. It sucks a lot, But that's why we have to come together, and sometimes I'll come in a live stream, and Leilani might drop in a tip, and I'm like, oh, okay, I like that, and I'll implement that for my life, right? I'd like to thank you for being. Hey, Cindy, I appreciate y'all. Like, I want to thank y'all for being here because if I wanted to do this live stream multiple times a week, and I clicked it, and it was 0 people on, I would have to get off. So y'all say thank you, I say thank you back. If nobody joined, like if I was on live for 10 minutes and it said 0, like I would hop off, right? At that point, I'm just talking to myself, and what we're worrying about the past. All right, so Katie, you could have, some issues worrying about the past, but what I normally see is when you worry about the past a lot, that tends to be something that I see with depression. Because with depression, you see a lot of regret, pain, sometimes an inability to forgive yourself, for certain things. So when you live in the past a lot, I think I had a preceptor, Dr. Ono. Shout out to Dr. Ono. He's a psych NP at the VA. He trained me back when I was in Augusta, Georgia, and he say things like depression is like living in the past, and anxiety is like living in the future. You want to be as present as possible, and sometimes it's good to reminisce and think about the good old times, and maybe even think about some painful times in the past. Right? You might be grieving on like a 1 year anniversary of a certain thing, or like a loss of a relationship or loss of a loved one, right? But for the most part, we don't want to be too, in the past or too much in the future. You know, dogs are very therapeutic. And Kate says, I have a greyhound who goes to a dog park. Anxiety. Well, Kate, if I saw you at the dog park, I wouldn't be anxious because like I'd be looking at the greyhound and I'd be thinking to myself, I've never seen a greyhound at a dog park, right? And you'd be looking at my Aussie and you'd be wondering why she's so untrained. Yeah, and the dog park is one of my happy places. So if you have a dog, uh, you could check out the dog park. The dog park could be something that you check out. And if you don't have a dog, at least for me, like I'm a 6'3" black guy, so if I went to the dog park without my dog, it'd be creepy. I'm just walking around, right? So if you have a dog, or maybe you're dog sitting, the dog park is a happy place for me, right? And my life is being saved by a good psychiatrist. Bethany, shout out to you for going out to get the help. Let me see. Oh, all right. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. So, Leilani, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel. I feel the chair on my legs. I feel my shoes because I'm wearing them, right? I got these red shoes. It matches with the Titans, red and blue. What else do I feel? Um, I can't think of anything else, but you get the point. You get the point. And tips on how to be present. All right. Yeah. So all right. So we talked about that. Anything you can do to bring yourself to this moment. So right now, Amber, I doubt that you're. All right. So let's play this game right now. Amber Marie, I'm not sure where you're checking in from, but I see that you got you and Santa and somebody else in your picture, right? It looks pretty cool. But right now, in this moment, Amber, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to everybody, right? But I have your comment on the screen, right? If we're in this moment right now, it's Kojo and Amber. We're talking, trying to figure this out. In this moment right now, I would argue that you're maybe a little bit less anxious than you are in your day-to-day life, right? Because we're having a conversation. We're talking about something, right? So I'm hoping that you're a little bit less anxious because you're present. So sometimes we have to find different hacks to keep us present, right? And you can even turn it into a game, right? You can turn it into a game. And as long as people all right, so I will say this. I've been at dog park sometimes and I've seen some huge dogs that have like been sometimes like I've had to go to people and say, hey, like I saw your dog trying to like, get on top of my dog. Like, can I get some space? Right. Sometimes depending on how big the dog is, I get a little I get a little bit scared and anxious sometimes, right? So I will say that. All right. And the next one is ADHD. I'm weak. Yeah, I be getting scared. I'm like, please, like, don't hurt my dog. Like, I need my dog for a lot of things. All right, so ADHD, right? What your mental health condition may say about you. I should have had that in the title, right? What your mental health condition may say about you, because none of these things are definitive, right? This is not the law, right? This is not the DSM, which I normally have. I like to sleep with the DSM so that way I can retain my my powers. But ADHD, right? You don't like routine, but you thrive when you have structure, right? So I that's how I am. And if you have ADHD, you may be able to relate to that. I'm not a fan of routine, right? Like I remember talking to this girl that, I was dating and I was telling her that I like to be a free bird. And I just like to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. Like I want to just live life. Don't tell me when to get to work. I'll try and get to work on time, but like just let me live my life, right? But at the same time, when I have structure and routine and I have that consistency, I do so much better. Like working out in the morning every day, when I have that structure, I feel so much better. Today I worked out in the afternoon. It threw me off. I showed up to the live stream 2 hours late. I'm just not used to that, right? So when you have that routine in place with ADHD, you do tend to do better, right? So for the guy who asked about tips for his 14-year-old son, if he can have some type of structure that will help him out. I come home from school, soccer practice, come home, take a shower, do math homework, science, social studies, dinner, get to sleep by 9, wake up at 6. If you can follow that routine, routine save lives. Routine save lives. And it's also we are at the 30-minute mark, which means that it's time for the water break, right? So when somebody drops the magic word in the chat, we're gonna have the water break. The water break gives us a chance to get some water in, right? I got my water here. I don't know if I'm gonna chug it today, but I got some water here, and I haven't had that much water today. I keep telling myself I'm gonna be hydrated, but it's time for the water break so we can stay hydrated, and then we'll get back to talking about ADHD. And I like this right here. Mickey Ficky. So after the water break, we'll talk about this, Sydney. I'll get right back to this. Don't let me forget. All right, so big cheers. Cheers. Yee. Big cheers. I hate when I do that and the water actually comes out. Well, I needed that. As you can see, I was underhydrated. I was thirsty AF. I needed that. For real, for real, for real. All right, so I hate routine because I'm hard headed and I hate feeling like someone's telling me what to do, even though I need that structure. Right. That's ADHD sometimes. And Jen, I hope you're doing okay today. And Sydney says steps getting through ADHD paralysis. Right. So for those who don't know, you're following along at home. ADHD paralysis, while not an official term, it's this thing where you get stuck, right? You're literally stuck. So I'm sitting here, right? Let's say it's 12 o'clock, and I know that I have to go take care of a certain thing and get done by a certain time, but I just don't know what to do next, right? You might just be stuck there, and then you just have no energy. You feel like you're frozen sometimes, right? And it's hard to do anything because you're not sure what to do next or where to start. Or sometimes you may have like 7 things on your to-do list, but you're so overwhelmed by the fact that you have 7 things to do that you do nothing, right? Sometimes I'll have days where I gotta get 4 things done, or a week where I got 4 main objectives. Monday, I'm looking at it like, all right, I should probably do this. Tuesday, I should probably do this. Wednesday, damn, I should do it. Thursday, I do all 4, right? I get this burst of energy from nowhere and I do all 4, right? But to get through the ADHD paralysis, I think it can be helpful to talk yourself through it, Sydney. Say, hey, and also you have to be nice to yourself. Sometimes I just have to break up the monotony of life. Like I've had times where I'm sitting on the couch and I have to do a certain thing. I'm like, damn, I gotta do this thing. I'll go take a shower, maybe a cold shower. It'll shake me up. And then with that, burst of energy, I'll go right into doing one thing that I have to do, right? And normally, let's say you have a paper you have to do, right? And the paper is 7 pages, right? Sometimes you can tell yourself, all right, I'm only going to do the first paragraph. And after that, I'll take a break. And what you'll often find is you'll start doing your thing. And before you know it, you'll catch fire. And after the first paragraph, you're like, all right, shoot, I might as well do the whole thing. Or I might as well get the first couple of pages done, right? So normally if we can start something, we'd be able to see it through. All right. You see, I have a lot of unresolved issues. I put myself from PTSD with the menopause at the same time. I may actually lost myself, but better now. That's a success story. That's an American success story, which deserves a love of the show. In cases, I do not have ADHD, but BPD, and found out similarities in what helps to manage this, especially structure. Really good point, Kate. And I would say that, so borderline personality disorder is one of the cousins of ADHD, right? So ADHD is in this family, and BPD is a cousin. So ADHD has a lot of siblings and cousins, right? So I'll probably call depression is probably a sibling to ADHD. So the depression is probably the older brother of ADHD. Anxiety is the older sister of ADHD. Um, uh, Depression, anxiety. A lot of times, bipolar disorder is the little sister to ADHD, right? Borderline personality disorder is a cousin to ADHD, right? Because there's a lot of similarities between these things, right? A second cousin to ADHD is autism, right? There's a lot of what actually maybe having a second cousin. ADHD and autism tend to be sometimes really similar. So I'll probably say that autism could be like a younger sibling to ADHD, right? These things have a lot of similarities. That's why if you think you have ADHD or autism, you might Google one thing and you'll get stuck on WebMD just looking through things for hours, right? It can be very helpful to go find a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist in your area who can just tell you what you have. Because sometimes it gets very confusing to figure out what's what, right? Um, do you have any thoughts on gamifying mundane tasks? I love the show just for asking this question. So, Sarah, man, I do this almost every single day, right? So I tell you all, if you come to the live stream, there's a couple of things that I really enjoy doing and certain things I hate doing. I love making video content, right? When I have like an assignment in front of me, I have to make a video, right? Whether it's a video where I get to showcase my acting skills, or if it's a video where it's like 5 signs of depression, 3 signs of ADHD, 4 signs of autism in toddlers, or whatever. If I'm making a video for you all, I don't have to gamify it because I really enjoy doing that. If I'm on a live stream with you all, I don't have to gamify it because I enjoy coming on the live stream. I just have to get here on time. But if I'm checking my emails, I hate checking emails. I hate checking emails. I hate cleaning up after myself. I hate folding the clothes. I hate doing laundry. I hate all of this stuff. So what I do is I'll turn it into a game. One of my favorite games is let's say I'll play my favorite Lil Wayne song. You know, it'd be like a 5-minute song. And I'll tell myself, all right, Kojo, you have 5 minutes to make your bed or fold these clothes or whatever. And then for the next 5 minutes, I'll be like, all right, cool. Put this here, put this there. I take this there. I'll put this here. And then most times I don't get the task done in 5 minutes, but I'm so close to finishing that before I know it, I'll just keep playing more music and I'll just keep cleaning more things. So this is actually a really, really, really good thing. I'm really happy you brought this up, Sarah. And a lot of times the comments go so fast I can't catch them, but I'm really happy you brought this up because especially if you struggle with ADHD paralysis or depression, or you have a hard time doing things, turn it into a game, right? Make it something fun and use that to give you the motivation to at least start the thing. Because normally when you start, you can finish it. You mean, yeah. Sarah, no, yelling at yourself in the mirror is not enough. But if you're yelling nice things to yourself, Sarah, we can roll with that. Bamer says, keep talking about isolation. Stepping out of my feelings is so hard when something big and bad happens with someone. Falling out. Then I have trouble reaching out to others and not just loving my only best friend. So I just avoid. So isolation is something that we see a lot, right? So I can say this one thing about isolation. The way you just said this right here, Bamer, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Let's say you're talking to your one friend, right? Or your best friend. Let's say something happens and you isolate for 2 weeks, right? I think it could be helpful to call your best friend whenever you feel like, talking to them and saying, hey, whenever I go through something, I have this bad habit of isolating. I don't mean to do it, and I care about you, and I'm sorry for it. But if you ever see me distant, or if I haven't talked to you in a couple of days, feel free to reach out and call me because I might be struggling with something, right? Sometimes if you're nervous or if you're struggling through something, it can just be helpful to just say it. Like, all right, I haven't left the house in a couple of days, and I'm trying to work through it. Sometimes you have to just say it out or say it to a friend and work through things. But when we keep them to ourselves, anything that's not in motion is hard to like push along. So I think it can be helpful to just talk to people. All right. And I do the gamify strategy when things are Ooh, I like that. I don't know if I can do that though, because I'm well microwave. I can do it, but I don't want to put something on the stove and forget about it. But oh, I can put the timer on. Yeah, you're right. I like this. I like this right here. Fallon says, well, let me start from the top down. I did laundry tonight. Laundry causes processing tonight. What it got me to do, I washed the dishes first, and I don't have dishwashers, so the water was scorching hot, like a sensory check. That's what's up. Oh, my dad texted me. Give me a second. Let me talk to my dad real quick. Yes, sir. Dad, I forgot to call you back. My bad. I was driving. If you can give me like 15 minutes, I'll call you real quick. I'm on my Facebook live stream. But after in like 15 minutes, I'll call you right back. I promise. All right, y'all remind me to call my dad back. All right. And Christy, how are you doing? Oh, you just finished your chores, so you're just in time. And ADHD at 3 years old. So Kayla, then the youngest person I've diagnosed with ADHD is like either 5 or 6. But sometimes I like to just wait it out. But it depends on the child and it depends on what the doctor says. Um, let me see this live stream. Sandra, I like that comment. That comment makes me smile. That comment makes me smile. All right, let me put the fourth thing in here. Jennifer, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was saying that to my dad. That's funny. Thank you. That's cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. All right. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. All right, okay, so the fourth thing is trauma. What does trauma say about you? Right? So trauma, you may try to get back to who you used to be, but when you reframe things, you tend to do well, right? So a lot of times with trauma and PTSD, let's say you've been through a traumatic event and it's shaking up your whole being, like who you are, what you do. It's really difficult to live life with trauma, right? Especially depending on what happened to you, right? Lots of abuse that can happen, mental, physical, sexual, emotional. Bad things happen all the time, and a lot of times to good people, and it really sucks, right? And when you want to go back and live life as a person that you used to be, it can be difficult because sometimes the trauma changes you to where you are not that person. You're just not who you used to be, right? But when you can reframe things, and this is where therapy comes into play a lot of times, when you can reframe things, you do tend to do well. Because let's say I've been in a couple of car accidents, right? Let's say, and they've kind of shaken me up, but I have progressed through that. I would not call that like PTSD, but let's say I had a car accident a couple of years ago that really shook me up, and it was really hard and for me to feel like I was the same person before that, right? If I'm able to go through therapy and maybe meds if necessary, and I can reframe things, then instead of me trying to get back to Kojo 10 years ago, I can say, okay, all right, maybe I'll never get back to being who I used to be, but now I can, evolve into another version of myself that's able to function and thrive through life, right? It takes the pressure off of having to go back to, or trying to get back to who you used to be, because it can be really difficult to do that, right? And sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have to go back and to try and be, oh, I used to be vibrant and now I'm depressed, but I used to go out, I used to be social, I used to like have friends, I used to like not isolate. Yeah, you did, but now we don't. We're a different person, right? So you gotta reframe and try and find a different way to look at things, right? Yeah, you gotta keep going. You got right. You have to be your own best advocate, Sherilyn. Sarah, I appreciate that. I try to stay positive for as much as I can. Um, I could, but y'all already put the reminders on for me. And January, I appreciate that. That's a cool name. Libby, what's going on? I'm trying to think about your boyfriend's name. What was that name you gave him? It wasn't Buster or Booger. I was gonna give him a shout out, but shout out to you and shout out to your boyfriend. Shout out to Mama Davidson as well. So he says, "I want to get help. I'm honestly ashamed. Don't know where to start." And Sydney, that's one of the biggest things about what I'm doing right here, because at some point we have to find the courage to move forward, right? But it's really hard because there's a stigma, so that's why I'm grateful for the internet, right? That's why I'm hoping that they don't shut down TikTok or take this away, right? Because of the internet, we've been able to build this community where we can, we get to make it fun too, right? Like I get to make this fun where we can come out here, talk back and forth, and hopefully after you watch a live stream, you might get the motivation to be like, all right, I'm gonna book an appointment with a doctor or something like that, right? To take those steps to make you feel better. So that's why we have to get louder. That's why I gotta make more videos. I got some short films planned. I'm gonna make a movie. I got a lot of creative things, but if you can get from point A to point B, maybe tomorrow you don't get help, right? Maybe tomorrow you still feel ashamed, but if next week Monday you're like, I think I'm gonna set a reminder in 2 days to look into doctors in my area. And then on Wednesday, you Google doctors near me. And then 2 weeks from that day, you maybe make an appointment. And then the next week, you go find a doctor, right? It takes people a while to go get that help, right? But we're always trying to find ways to give ourselves permission to go get help. I don't know why we do that as humans, but I mean, I do it too. Like if my friend Branford, who's a doctor now, he's a doctor as well. If my friend did not tell me about his struggles with ADHD, I would not have gone to see a doctor to get help, right? So that's why I'm trying to do what like he did for me, for you all, right? And let me see. It's a funny comment because there's an actual like shortage of Adderall and stimulants. So this is funny. This is cool. That's funny. Oh, it's Badger, 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 Badger. Got it. I won't forget. I said Booger or Buster. I knew it started with a B. Badger. I hope Badger's doing good. Movie, yes, yes. I love to do that. And I struggle with this. I remember I used to be so happy and positive, and I don't feel anything. It doesn't make me feel bad. I just wish I could be that way again sometimes. I'm either sad or nothing. So, Rome, this we all go through this type of thing, right? So I actually feel this way with relationships in a weird way because I remember when, like, maybe 8 years ago, if I was dating a girl, I was like, oh, like I love this woman. Like I would do anything for this girl. Like I'll take her on dates. I'll get her flowers. I was romantic. I'll hold hands with her. But now, not that I don't want to date. I do, but like it's become such a small part of my life that sometimes I ask myself, I probably should work through this in therapy. But sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, dang, like do I like work so much? Like I love this. I love all this so much. I hope I don't like it too much, but I like working so much that relationships become such a small part of my life. So sometimes I'm like, damn. I remember when because let's say I'm talking to a girl today. I'm like, okay, I'll see what's up with her. Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, it's worth my time, and maybe she's cool. But back in the day when I was dating a girl, she was my whole world. Like it just took up everything. But I will come back around. But I do understand that I'm like really locked into where I'm doing right now. But I don't think it's fair to ourselves to judge yourself today versus yourself a couple years ago. I don't think it's fair to ourselves. So I always think that to myself whenever I get those thoughts. I'm like, I'm a different person now. So I have to, do the best that I can right now. Sydney, I appreciate you. Everything in due time. And all right, so Sarah, I will say this. A lot of people who are struggling to get their Adderall or Concerta, a lot of times you can go to your doctor and your doctor might be able to switch you to like another medication in the same class, like a Concerta or like a Vyvanse. It's expensive, right? But there's different things you can do, or maybe even more Wellbutrin. Like I don't know, whatever your doctor comes up with. But sometimes we have to get crafty to deal with things that come out of left field, right? And I feel like the intensity leaves this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Rome. I remember. Yeah. No, you're right. Like I was in second grade. Maybe a bad example, but I was in second grade, and this girl called Amanda slid me this note. She's like, "Do you have a crush on me? Yes or no?" I look back. I'm like, "Oh, she's cute." And I thought about that girl every day for the rest of second grade, right? And now it's like I can like someone and then like I can fall like the interest goes away so fast. Maybe that's the ADHD thing, but I'm like, dang, I thought this girl was like cooler than whatever. So we can't judge ourselves to like our old selves, right? This is good medicine. Sam, and look, and y'all. So what Sam is doing right here, I gotta give Sam a love of the show. This is reframing, right? Let's say the Adderall runs out. All right, cool. Well, shoot, we'll try different pharmacies. We'll go here, boom, boom, boom. Dang, it's out. All right, we got to reframe. Maybe find something else. Like maybe this live stream is helpful, right? And let me see. Live streams are Chrissy. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, and when I first started on TikTok, I would call it like a mini therapy session, but we can't call it therapy, right? So it's just therapeutic entertainment, right? Because your boy doesn't want to get sued. I know. I don't want to give my lawyer a heart attack. All right. And so bipolar disorder, let me drop this in here. So what your mental health condition says about you or may say about you, I should have thought about that title a little bit longer. All right. So drop this one in here. Oh, around a year ago. Yeah. Yeah. And independent women or own goals. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely need a woman who's like independent. Cause not that I'm a ghoster, but like I be in my own world sometimes. I'd be like I be in Mars and Jupiter. All right. So bipolar disorder. You may have a hard time being productive when depressed, but when you're manic, you're productive, or you may be productive. I should word that a little bit better. And it's possible to live a productive life, right? So the bipolar cycle, it can be a wicked swing, up and down, 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 right? Where when you're depressed, you're like, all right, I'm depressed. Everything sucks. I'm gonna just sit here until my energy comes back, right? But when the energy comes back, it might be a little bit too much, right? To where it's you cross over into mania or hypomania, right? Because hypomania can be undetected for quite some time, right? But it's important to understand that you can find that balance, right? It's really difficult, right? Sometimes you may have to cycle through tons of antipsychotics or tons of mood stabilizers or antidepressants, or therapy and figuring out your sleep schedule. Or your work schedule. Maybe your work schedule is throwing off your sleep schedule. So it's really difficult sometimes with bipolar disorder. But I think the most important thing to realize is that, all right, yes, we do have this swing up and down, right? And keep in mind, some folks with bipolar disorder do not have depressive episodes, right? Let's say if you have bipolar 1, some folks with bipolar 1 do not have depressive episodes. So you might just have like some of a baseline and the mania, which is like, could kind of like get you in trouble, right? So if you can understand that it is possible to have a productive life, but you may need support of your friends, family members, your doctors, your therapists, your whole squad. But I think it's important to keep that in mind, right? Because if you lose hope of that, you lose sight of that, it can be easy to be discouraged, right? And then you're like, oh man, there's no hope for me. I'm just gonna have to wait until my next manic episode to be productive, right? So I think it's important to keep that in mind. Savage, savage. So hey, look, I tried to come on here a little bit earlier, but we will do our best to, because it's almost midnight on the East Coast. So I'm out here talking about sleep and telling you all to keep your sleep cycle in check, and it is almost midnight. So I do apologize. But keep in mind that these lives could be watched, on the back end, right? What time is it? Oh, it's time to call my dad back. All right, so I gotta be a man of my word. I'll call my dad back. Oh, he couldn't hear anything. Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so I gotta call him back. It's 3 p.m. in Australia. Oh, okay. So, Kate, this is the perfect time for you because it's just the middle of the day for you. It's 9 o'clock p.m. in California, and it's about to be midnight on the East Coast. Jim in the AM. Okay. Well, it is time to get off because I do have to call my dad. He said can't hear anything. All right, so I gotta get back to pops, y'all. I gotta get back to my dad. And before I go, so we were talking about the people that we need on our team. The people that we need to help us out. It might be your doctor, your therapist, your friends, your squad. And page 182 in the workbook can be helpful for that. All right. So, dang it. I want to answer some more questions, but I got to get off. I got to get back to my dad. Okay. All right. So, the next live stream will be next week. I got to figure out my schedule next week because we'll have the morning show for sure. But I have to figure out what my schedule will be like once I get to Canada. So, all right, I gotta dip out, y'all. And oh yes, Lalani, you're right. We should, yeah, we might just have a show where it's just straight Q&A. Yeah. And also, yes, I'll see you on Monday. And also, a big shout out to you and your girlfriend, Carrie. You're going through a rough time, but I know that you all will get through it because I'm counting on you. So until next time, you all take care. Let me call my dad back and I'll let him know that you all reminded me. So I love y'all. See y'all next week. Take care. Take care. Thank you, Tina. All right, Rome. Take care, my guy. All right.